Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, to the show called the Frontline Security Show of Punchline Africa. It's an open lecture, a lecture about security matters, to know what risks, implications do we have during this COVID-19 pandemic. Many countries in Africa today face security challenges. The challenges are many under this COVID-19 pandemic. Airplanes cannot fly, passengers cannot travel, human trafficking is taking place, cocaine is being transported, bangi is being transported, terrorists are being transported also. In this show this morning, we want to look at how things have changed in the world of security. With us on the show today, we have security expert who will tell us point by point what is supposed to be done during these times of security, which cannot cause insecurity. We want to determine if planes are not moving, if ships are not anchoring, what can we do to make sure that we go out of the hardships that we have? When we talk about security, we talk about security can become a hardship. If you cannot move from one place to the other, then you cannot sell your goods. Then you can create a state of despondence. If you cannot be able to talk to your relatives, you become sick. You create a state of despondence. Good morning, Africa. Thank you very much. I now want to introduce my panel. Right today, the guest is retired Major Mbijiwe. Good morning, Major Mbijiwe.
Good morning, Dr. Matanga and my fellow panelists, Professor Jared, my brothers, Wesonga, Sister Karen, and yourself, and of course our sister is coming as well. I have missed you guys, I've missed our viewers, and it's my great pleasure to be on the show this morning.
Thank you very much. Next, in the other corner, we have Professor Jared Onyari. Professor Onyari is a champion of church. He gives advice. He treats souls. You know, there are doctors for each department. The Senate of Kenya needs a treatment where souls must be cleansed, because there is a problem there. While we are off the microphone, you talked a lot of sense, all of you. And I was picking it from my bedroom. Wherever I am here, miles away from the headquarters of Punchline Africa Television, I could say, yeah, this is the truth. That's how we are. That's how our Senate is. Ameru people are the best people. But for Ameru, for the president to call you and you refuse, then you have obeyed nothing, but you have disobeyed the same covenant that Ameru Mountain was created for. Thank you very much. In the other corner, we have Karen Josephs, is from all the way in Malindi. Karen is our correspondent of the coast. Thank you very much. Karen?
Yes, Dr. Matsanga, this is Karen Josephs from Malindi. And good morning to Professor Jared. Good morning to retired Major Mbijiwe. And a very good morning to Wesonga, together with Miriam and Dr. Matsanga. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Next is, you can switch off your microphone then. Next is none other than Colombo. Cindy Wesonga Colombo. We call him Colombo nickname. Our investigative journalist, Sin Daniel Wesonga. Good morning.
A very good morning, Dr. Matsanga David, Professor Jared Onyari, Major Retired Bijiwe, and our correspondent with the coastal part of the country, Karen Joseph, and our viewers across the globe. A very good morning. It's a pleasure being here.
We shall be joined later from Nairobi studio of the headquarters of Punchline, Miriam Ogutu. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, risks, implications of security during pandemic 19. We go straight to this. Last week, I wrote an article. The whole of Sahara region is on fire. The Sahara region of northeast, northwest, the western part of Africa is on fire. Today, in the city of Mali, Bamako, 5 million people are in the streets. And this time they have said they are not going there and they are not going away. As we see in Mogadishu, bomb blasts killing people over the weekend. Soldiers, inmates, Al-Shabaab running away, breaking the prison and trying to run away. Or the Somalis opening them to go away. I don't know. Ijiwe will tell us. We see the risks. Planes are not moving. Those that are moving, they're coming in. These planes come with a lot of difficulties. The security risks of COVID-19 itself. The COVID-19 scare is enough. Added with the personnel that man these aeroplanes, there's chaos. Okay. What increased security have the airports done so far to make sure that these airports are safe? What implications is it to the economies of the countries of Africa? Today, most countries are steering regime change, instigated. We have just finished a topic about Kenya, where one deputy president is telling us, bring it on. And he says, there is a state machinery, yet he is part of the state machinery. COVID-19 has come with so many dangers. And that is why we brought this topic, to have security analysis, risk assessment, implications of COVID-19 on the economy, the social life, the security of our nations. How safe are we in Africa? The United States of America issued an alert. Do you people agree with the alert? I will be asking you questions. And today, I spare nobody. but we got that level. Prepare yourself. I will moderate. Today I'm not going to speak much. I will moderate because there is a speaker down there amongst you who will teach us something about security. I open the floor and I welcome Miriam to the show from Nairobi, Punchline Africa headquarters. Welcome to the show. I will call upon you to give us later and test your sound before I hand over the microphone. If you want to speak, you just do like this. If you have a point which is paining you, don't wait. If you want to go to Shitipo, that prison there is a prison where I cannot pronounce the name in Mombasa, Shitimola or something. I have a problem with it. And I will ask Karen to teach me how to talk about the Shitimola. What is the prison exactly? The name, where Sonko was in prison. Yes.
If Shimolatewa becomes difficult for you to pronounce, just say Shimo. That would be
Shimo. Oh my God. Shimolatewa. So, switch off your microphone. But thank you very much. Today being the first day for Karen, you will sit in and watch and listen as the men and the woman and the men battle it down on these security risks, implications for COVID-19. Thank you very much. My first member of the panel, retired Major Bijiwe, tell us the risks, implications of COVID-19 on the security. Planes don't travel, ships are not traveling, goods are not coming. We say Nairobi is the epic center, but we are bringing cabbages every morning. The pickups are landing here with mud from across. Some are coming all the way from Uganda with carrots. Why is Nairobi's number of COVID-19 rising every day? Isn't it a risk? Doesn't it turn into a security risk? Over to you, retired Major Bijiwe.
Thank you, Dr. Matanga. Indeed, our times have become extremely very interesting times, and I mean the COVID-19 times. At the beginning of this year, who would have thought 2020 would turn out to be the year it has turned out to be? Unfortunately, one of the areas that has taken a serious beating is the area of national security. And here, it cuts from individuals to the entire nations. The levels of effect that COVID-19 has had on security are immense. First, let me begin by mentioning directly how it has affected individuals. See, for example, there has been a lot of hardship, socioeconomic hardships. And as a result, the level of crime has increased tremendously. Just about where I live, some couple of days ago, some boys just rode with a motorcycle and attacked the shop that is next to my home. And they were calling me later in the evening to say, oh, we've been robbed next to my home. And it's an high-end area. The young man came with a motorcycle and guns, stole money from an M-Pesa shop and a lot of beer, and took some money from the beer shop. So these are some of the reasons, some of the effects this has had on individual persons. The level of crime has increased tremendously. In Nairobi, people have been jogging, walking, same as Mombasa, walking and jogging and attacked while they're doing it. There has been, incidents. One was captured in Nairobi on Lenana Road some months back. a gentleman going to work in the morning, young man showed up in a motorcycle, attacked him with knives, and I think they had a gun, and took his laptop bag. And okay, later they were apprehended, but these are the levels of insecurity that this COVID-19 has brought as a result of socioeconomic hardships. Going further into societal and national security, you realize, as Dr. Matanga, earlier mentioned, there's been heightened levels of alertness, against, or previously there was, not anymore, heightened levels of alertness against terrorism, for example. In this region, as we are doing whatever we're doing, we've had intelligence reports that Al-Shabaab is recruiting and training their fighters big time. In fact, this is information that has been passed on to intelligence networks, both locally and internationally, that terrorist groups are now regrouping as nations are paying attention to the fight against COVID-19. They are taking advantage of that vacuum, almost vacuum, to regroup and retrain and prepare, actually rearm for the future. The regions that Dr. Matanga mentioned, the Sahel, that cover the area of Mali, Burkina Faso, all the way to Algeria and the bigger part of the Saharan desert. Terrorist activities have increased there tremendously. Boko Haram in Nigeria has increased tremendously. This goes all the way to Philippines. Everywhere, Absayev, fighting factions in the Philippines, to the Taliban in Afghanistan. The terrorist groups are now regrouping and reorganizing, rearming, and preparing to launch massive attacks. In fact, what may follow the COVID-19 times is another year of massive terrorist attacks across the globe. These are real threats. They are here with us. And this is because nations have turned their attention, their money to the fight against COVID-19. And talking about COVID-19, our President Uhuru Kenyatta likes to refer to COVID-19 as the faceless enemy. This is a serious enemy. I do not think our world has ever faced another existential threat like we faced with COVID-19. And by the way, some people previously used to joke in Kenya, have you seen someone who knows someone who has had COVID-19? When big names began to appear that have COVID-19, everybody shut up. I think the effect of the announcement by the journalist Jeff Koinange that he had COVID-19 was very helpful to silencing critics and skeptics who are saying this is a scam, there is no COVID-19. COVID-19 has taken precious people from our midst. A couple of 2 weeks ago, I lost one of my greatest university lecturers, Ken Ouko, to COVID-19 from the University of Nairobi. So this enemy has become the greatest threat to our security. This faceless enemy, you don't know where and when and how you're going to be attacked. And these are very serious questions that individuals need to ask themselves in these times. That said, we are well able to fight any form of enemy, whether as a face or as no face.
Thank you very much, Major Retired Bijiwe, a security specialist, a strategist, a consultant based in Nairobi. He has mentioned quite a number of issues: attacks by Al-Shabaab, preparations of training, domestic violence, and domestic attacks by younger men who are now based up, who have no jobs at the moment as we speak. These attacks build up as a result of COVID-19 measures that are here. There is one way we want to bring to light the difficulties of security agencies. Cross-border infection I don't know who would like to go on this one. Cross-border infection is also a security risk, is becoming a security implication. Those crossing from Lunga, Tanzania into Kenya also pose a security risk. Poaching is posing a security risk. Drugs, human trafficking. We have seen a show, a documentary on one of the televisions here, showing children being smuggled from Uganda in huge numbers. And in this documentary, I saw police officers actually helping the children to come on a truck. Are we doing open slavery? Professor, have we gone back to buying people? A man goes to a market in Sorot, in Uganda, and buys a human being and brings these human beings to Kampala to be exported to Kenya as housemaids or house helps. Are we doing this under the cover of COVID-19? Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Masanga. And I want to say Mbichiwe has laid a foundation on what's happening during this time for COVID-19. I was giving a lecture to Jacob Sabay Leadership Global Institute. And one of the topics I talked about is security, peace in Africa, and I was using Kenya as the case study. At the moment, to answer your question, there is a lot of human trafficking taking place, and this is a global menace. And during this time for COVID-19, all the attention is diverted towards fighting this faceless enemy. And you may not be knowing what may be happening in families. We have had a lockdown, we have had curfew. And you know the ratio of the number of the security of the police we have to the citizens to take care of us is not guaranteed. So when people are in their houses and the police have done the patrol, we have had people striking. And this is one area where United Nations has done extremely poor in terms of peace and security. In 2014, you know, it declared Ebola a risk. Why haven't United Nations Peace and Security Council declared COVID-19 as a disaster and which needs more attention to be taken? We don't know what's happening in this time of pandemic. People have lost jobs. People want to survive. It has led to domestic violence, gender-based violence. You add the president commissioning a National Research Crime Center to do a study where we have had many of our young school girls getting pregnant, quite a number of them. So in a time like this, even when we had a lockdown, you could see policemen being bribed as little as 50 shillings. So these things are real. COVID-19 is about life, a matter of life and death, and more attention, because when we are close like this, you don't know what the terrorists are doing. You saw the other time the Americans warning their citizens not to come to Kenya or East Africa region. Mbichiwe, a security expert, has confirmed that the intelligence reads that the terrorists are going to strike. And because all the resources we have taken, because we don't have enough budget toward the COVID-19. So more needs to be done And more needs to be invested in terms of security, in terms of food security, because when people lose their lives, when people are scared, when people are traumatized, they cannot be able to work. So these things, Dr. Masanga, are really COVID-19 has interfered with the lives of the people, and when people live in fear, they are not guaranteed their security. So we need to do, that's why we need to do more of the civic awareness to create into the people. Like now, the announcement by Russia that they have discovered this medicine, it is going to be a relief. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I come to Daniel Wesonga. The same question. What are the implications of cross-border infections? One of our viewers has asked and put in a very serious contribution that cross-border infections also contribute to insecurity. Let's say from Tanzania, not everybody in Tanzania is wearing a mask. What can Kenya do to stop cross-border infections that are on the increase?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Masanga. And retired Major Mbijio has put a perspective on it, and Professor Jared Onyari has also come in auspiciously and put a very, very clear definition to the current situation. And on the matter of cross-border infections, this is something that really, really takes us back. You see, as a country, we've really done much in terms of fighting this pandemic and ensuring that infections really go down. And if you look at the curve right now in the coastal region, which we are facing a very, very massive infections per day, they are really, really going down close to a flattening. And also, the only part now remaining is Nairobi. So if we still have people who are streaming in from Tanzania and these people are not screened, we do not know their status in terms of COVID-19, then these are the people who are again carrying the infection back to our population when we are trying as much as possible to fight the pandemic. And also maybe I'll just like to come in also on the matter of the economy, Dr. Matsanga.
We come to the economy later. Talk about Garissa. The numbers in Garissa rising as a result of cross-border infection. Cross-border infection in Garissa has risen. What can Kenya do? What measures can the government of Kenya do? Have we closed the border with Somalia? Have we closed the border with Tanzania in that perspective?
Yes, Dr. Masanga, maybe just to add on what I've said, okay, we need, as much as we have closed the border and there are no people streaming in, the security apparatus, the security men on our borders have to be extra vigilant and be able to close these alternative routes that are being used by unscrupulous individuals to sneak in people from our neighboring countries that have high numbers and infections of coronavirus. So the issue is for the government to increase number of security officers on our borders. We need to be extra vigilant. We need sharing of intelligence between not only the government officials, but also the locals have to keep a vigilant eye on the people who are crossing the border. If you notice strange people who are passing your village, strange people who are in your who are traveling past your shopping center, it's only good that we encourage people to come up and be able to report such cases so that our security officers are able to execute the order given by the government quite competently. That is what we need to do. We need to enforce, to watch out rather, so that these people don't find alternative to stream into the country.
Thank you very much, Wesonga. Yes, before I come to Miriam, let me listen to Professor Anintai. You have any interjection?
Dr. Wesonga has raised a very fundamental point, and that's why you have heard me say that as a region and as neighbors, we must have a common strategy on how we fight COVID-19. Tanzania, they don't wear masks. And you can agree with me, all the neighboring counties, Busia, Kajiado, Wajir, as you have mentioned. So when the neighbor is not very strict and our security system is not up to the task, we will have these numbers increasing. So what we need to do is to have as a strategy as a region. And we should not stop, my brother, and I've kept on saying that, we should have continuing engagement and conversation with our neighbors, with Tanzania and others, so that we have got a common front, so that our security system, they are not overwhelmed. The security of Uganda, the security of Tanzania, the security of Kenya, they should work together towards this.
Yeah, but they are not working together.
That's what I'm. That's the rider and the recommendation I'm giving. They are supposed to be doing it.
They are not working together. We have disease coming up in Garissa. Ina Hassan from Garissa says the numbers of COVID-19 patients infection has increased in Garissa, coming number 2 from Mombasa and Malindi and Lamu. You see, there are no strict, we might have put the thing in the paperwork, but on the ground, things are not working. As you will see, with the security situation that is taking place in East Africa, this morning, and this is a live testimony, which has happened in my country, in my country called Uganda today. The burial of my uncle is taking place now. They're about to finish. But the people who came from the town, the people in the village were running away from them. You know why? The village people are saying the ones with masks are the people who have a problem. Honestly. My own mother has just told me that those guys who came with masks, you know, with the way they want to bury things, those everybody who came from Kampala came with a mask, this mask everywhere. So the people in the village said, let's separate the tents. You, the mask people that way, we this way. So you can see the degree of discipline that is amongst the population in Uganda. At the same time, the degree of stigma, if you don't handle it properly, the people might not even bury you.
It's true.
Thanks God, my uncle did not die of COVID-19. He has been having a long illness. It did not come and strike him today. Because of that, he has been having a long illness, which we knew at one time he will go. It was a matter of time. He could not recognize people. So the situation now in the entire East Africa, not only East Africa.
No.
And when we are talking, let's not concentrate only in Kenya. They spread the wings elsewhere. Miriam has the figures of COVID-19. Prepare them, tell us, look at the country which has more military men versus a country with civilian men. Compare that, where people adhering to the law. You see, originally when we started, Egypt had the highest number. But I think Miriam will tell you that Egypt has gone down. The number of Egypt is gone down because, it is going up because the ships, don't forget, they're anchoring Suez Canal and all that cost. You can't stop the ships from passing there. Okay. South Africa. Look at the measures that South Africa has put in place. Are the measures helping or causing more chaos? Bijiwe said children came and stole on a bike with guns. This is in Kenya. What about in South Africa and Soweto? Where guns are like sticks, walking sticks. Is COVID-19 also affecting Al-Shabaab? I will put the question to Bijiwe later. Are Al-Shabaab affected by COVID-19? Do they keep a distance? Because they are in the bushes. We don't have a barracks for them. Is that saving them? Because all these risks, implications, analysis will help us to prepare our country and our countries in Africa. Medium. A nutshell question coming to you as I surrender to tell us the data. What do you have on security hotspots? Is it possible for East Africa? Is it possible for Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Sudan to have a common policy on COVID-19?
Thank you so much, and a very good afternoon to our viewers. And I've been listening to the rest of the panelists there, starting from the security person himself, the retired General Binjiwe. It's very interesting because remember when COVID-19 had not really spread so much in East Africa, all the East African Community member states bloc had a virtual meeting that was supposed to be happening, and so that they're able to strategize as a bloc on how they're going to tackle this pandemic. And very interesting, Burundi, through then the late now former president Pierre Nkurunziza and president of Tanzania, they refused to show up. The foreign ministers refused to show up for the virtual meeting. So that left Rwanda and that left Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, and South Sudan are the ones who attended this meeting. So that goes ahead and to show that even as we continue talking about the elusive unity in the East African bloc, we can never be united, even when we should, in very important matters like fighting a pandemic that is ravaging the whole world. So I think unity right now for East African Community bloc to speak as one voice, even in something so important, in something, a matter of life and death, also that has proved to be impossible. But we've seen a cooperation between Kenya and Uganda. We've seen Rwanda also has been, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and South Sudan also is trying and together to fight the pandemic. So perhaps the four countries can strategize. But what will happen now to the border in the south between us and Tanzania, between Tanzania and Uganda, between Tanzania and the other country, the other side? That leaves the rest of us exposed, as much as Kenyan government is doing its level best to fight the pandemic and to ensure that we are safe. Uganda, President Museveni is doing the same, and Rwanda, President Kagame is doing the same. But if Tanzania here is the weak link, and when Kenya tries to put stringent measures in the borders to ensure that we are safe on this side, we see how President Magufuli is always responding and not showing any good will at all. So that has become a challenge. So even as we try to balance, the unity and the good brotherliness and the neighborliness we have in the region, I think a pandemic, the COVID-19 has gone ahead and tried even the good neighborliness, especially between us and Tanzania. So I think the borders, especially between Kenya and Tanzania, and Kenya and Somalia, they are porous. But what I would like to say is this, as I've seen Ina Hassan there coming up and telling us, giving us that information that Garissa now is recording the second highest infection rate probably from across Somalia. What Kenyans need to understand, the government can do certain much to a certain extent. When it comes to COVID-19, the Army of Kenya cannot protect you from it. President Kenyatta can send the army to the borders to protect us against Al-Shabaab or any other external aggression towards us and our country. But the Kenyan army cannot protect you. The Kenyan army cannot come and police you towards wearing a mask. So if you're seeing these people coming inside the country and you know very well they're not supposed to be coming, and you know very well these people, you don't know their status, and they're coming inside the country and you allow them as a Kenyan, that is wrong. So as much as the government is doing its best to give us this, to give us the information to ensure that people are safe, but also us as a citizen in this country must realize that we have a bigger part to play if we are serious about seeing this pandemic end. The borders in Tanzania, Kenyans in that border needs to know. And as I think Daniel there mentioned, if you mentioned earlier there, if you see somebody who is coming in from outside that place, why don't you go and report it to the chief? Why don't you go and report to the local authorities and let them take action? You go say that and then come tell us, I went there and nothing was, no action was taken. But you're sitting there, you're allowing these people come in there, you will get infected, and we will see the figures continuing going up, and we may never see the end of this pandemic in the country. So my appeal to Kenyans is, you have a bigger role to play. The government on this part, its role is quite minimal, because I have to look out for you and you have to look out for me. And if that means going to report any person who is coming in, a stranger, is coming in from a country where they're not even carrying out the test, and in Somalia we know the tests as much as they're doing, but it's not as much, then you have yourselves to blame, and you have a responsibility to ensure that you're safe. Kenyans must understand that, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Let me ask a direct question to all of you. Our country is prepared in Africa. Are we prepared? Looking at the samples of Kenya, is Kenya prepared for an outbreak? Prepared is Kenya giving hope? How are they giving us hope? Russia gave its people hope. And I understand there are so many planes heading to Moscow. So many planes have gone to Moscow. They are heading to Russian capital. Has Kenya sent one plane to pick a few samples? Are we reactive? Are we ever proactive? Miriam has told you, do you see a person crossing with COVID-19? Do you report? Have you ever reported? What are the implications? I've shown you one person, one example. People who came from Kampala to Bari, my uncle, were told, have another camp, let's have another tent.
And so, just on that, Doctor, I had something to say that. Thank you, reminded me, and sorry I cut you. When it comes to that situation, and our condolences to you and your family there for the loss of your uncle. But from what you said, the people who came with the mask, which is the right thing to do, were put on the other tent, and the people from the village who think are safe and did not want to be associated with the people with the masks sat in another tent. That goes ahead to tell you that perhaps there's no proper information that has been given down in the villages there in Uganda. So the government of Uganda should create awareness and tell them, even if you're in the villages and you're out in public, please wear your mask, because that is the right thing to do to protect yourself.
This is why they were saying they also have masks, but they were saying this one coming from the other side is more disorganized, very skunk. Miriam, this is a real thing. They are saying they are the one that came from Kampala is very skunk. So the village people said, no. Museparate sisi. Wacha tuombe pande hii na pande hiyo. This is live from there. And my question is there a security implication in the opening of airspace when other institutions are not working? Is there security implications? The hotels that the pilots for these planes are sleeping, are they safe for everybody to go and sleep there? Bijiwe.
Thank you, Dr. Matanga. And what an awesome engagement we are having here with the experts this morning. Yes, of course, Kenya will remember that we lost one of our most brilliant pilots at the onset of COVID-19 to the pandemic. He was one of the most experienced pilots. He had been my colleague in the Air Force long before I came into service, and he actually left the Air Force before I joined the Air Force. But he was among our, legendary pilots. Even in the Air Force, his name is written in one of the boards at the officers' mess. So he'd been a great pilot, and he flew to New York to bring home the last batch of Kenyans before the airspace was closed. And guess what? Boom. He contracted COVID-19. Nobody knows whether it was in his hotel, whether it was in the plane, or in the maybe security system that they had to go through in the US. This was a time when there was a high spike of COVID-19 in New York City. The gentleman came home. A few days later, he passed on. May his soul rest in peace. So there's a question of the safety of our pilots when they fly across these nations. Actually, the hotel industry, there's a question of how safe are these hotels for us to use them? Are they fumigating the hotels? Are they carrying out proper health procedures and protocols for the hotels to be usable again by the people of the nations? Kenya has opened the airspace. People will be flying in here from everywhere. Of course, there are very strict protocols to be observed, Ministry of Health protocols to be observed. But even when they're observed, sometimes you could contact the virus. It won't show just the same day, and you are symptomatic, and you will pass it on to someone else. So our times have completely changed. And as Miriam said earlier, it's not the soldiers or the police who's going to protect anyone. In fact, our soldiers are dying. Last week, we laid a colleague of mine who was an inspiration for me in the military. He had been recruited in the military earlier than me, and he was a very nice gentleman. When I was going through training and things were so tough, I would always remember him, and I would say, if that gentleman I know went through this, I'm going to go through it myself. And he's also a relative, through my mother's side. And unfortunately, a few days ago, he passed on to COVID-19 and was laid to rest last week, Friday. In our village, my home, where I'm born, is a soldier in KDF. So KDF, police, anyone cannot protect you from COVID-19. This has to be an individual effort. Now, what is even more threatening, the region now, there's a regional threat is the situation in Tanzania and the situation in Somalia. These two nations are doing nothing about COVID-19. Tanzania is trying to say, you will not come into Tanzania before we test you or put you in quarantine. But they're not telling us if they are healthy and if they are sick and if there's a risk of spreading that to the region. That is why there's a standoff between Kenya and Tanzania about air flights. Kenya wanted to fly in there. Tanzania refused because Kenya refused for Tanzania to fly in here because we can't. If we allow it, then we are headed not to dealing with the problem, but creating the herd immunity where we get everybody sick, then everybody heals, and we deal with COVID-19 through sickness and getting healed, and some few dying. These COVID-19 times have proven to be very difficult times for security policymakers. And I'll be frank with you, even in national security councils in the region, this has become a great threat. It's being discussed in great lengths. In private security industry, where I went into after leaving, the Air Force, we've had several forums. Even tomorrow, I'm invited to another online forum where women in security will be discussing the topic of COVID-19 and their safety and their security. So private security industry has taken a hit of this. We've lost businesses, we've lost officers, people working in this industry have been affected. Many have died. Of course, on a light note, I'll mention Papa Shirandura. He was one of us in security, because he used to play the role of a watchman. However, really, truly, we lost a remarkable man in Papa Shirandura, as much as he played a security guard, but he wasn't one, he just played the role. But this shows how much the security industry has taken a hit from COVID-19. And this is not gonna get better anytime soon. So maybe we are face to face with an enemy, Dr. Matanga, that is not living. And I agree with Dr. Matanga, maybe it's time planes find their way into Moscow. They have a vaccine that they have approved in Moscow. Why I believe in them is Russia has some of the best scientists in the world. Don't forget the periodic table of elements was discovered by a Russian chemist called Dmitry Mendeleev, the one we studied in high school, where the elements are arranged periodically according to the periodic table. Russia has some of the best scientists in the world. Then Russia, because it's semi-democratic and semi-totalitarian, they are able to cut through the red tape of regulations. Not like America, where you have to have your vaccine tested to 20 people, then to 50 people, then to 100 people, and you're signing up, you're filling a book. Russia can do all that in one go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Russian vaccine. Let's fly to Moscow.
Oh, coming back to the region of the fires, the scary fires that are taking place. You saw in Democratic Republic of Congo, there was a fire that destroyed a compound. These are all risks. Are we prepared in this country, security-wise, in case of such magnitude of fires, blasts, terrorism during this COVID-19? How do people on checking us on the hotels? Are people sleeping on the job? Are we concentrating on the gun, this one, on the head, but not concentrating in the shukers? How all of you have had experience with all these institutions? You go there to buy food in the supermarket. Are the soldiers, are the askaris at the gates more interested in saving COVID than themselves, or more interested in saving the buildings? I'll begin with Miriam.
Well, as it is now, I think that as much as and that thing, the thermal, what do you call it? The thermometer there that a lot of buildings use, so that they check your temperature before you get in, whether it's a supermarket, whether it's a public space. I just find them to be, I don't know if we really need them, because I've never seen anybody stopped at the entrance. Your temperature is over this much, so you can't enter. I've never seen that. And if anything, Kenyans are so clever, they'll beat the system. I remember one time when I was traveling to Kisumu, I think, was it in February, and I was not feeling well. I had not been feeling well for a couple of days, and I was traveling, and I thought, okay, COVID has just started. So I took my painkillers, but not because I was going to I had any mind of beating the system or during the temperature check, but because I needed. But Kenyans will go ahead and take the medication. So even if they come there, they don't have the temperatures, and you don't know if they have COVID or not. What these public spaces should do is ensure that they have the sanitizers, they have the hand washing points, and they ensure anybody who is entering that facility, they're able to sanitize or they're able to wash their hands. I think that will be more effective than taking those temperatures they do there, and then they don't even care if the person, sanitizes before they go touching the baskets that they're going to use inside there for shopping and touching things and all that. So I think that is ridiculous. A lot of these establishments, they do things the other way around, and at the end of the day, we don't get to protect lives as we should. And on your other question is our preparedness when it comes to meeting some of these, emergencies that could erupt. And you mentioned that fire from the DRC and all that. I think we're trying, but we're not there yet. I think there should be a lot of emphasis.
Miriam, what is the correct temperature? Any of you have forgotten my primary school.
Is it 37 or 36?
7
What is the correct temperature, Karen?
37 and below.
37.
30 what?
7.
37.
No, there's one we used to run in primary school, Jamen.
Which one?
36.5, around 6.5.
30 what?
Around 36.5.
All of you are saying it's around. There is a real temperature.
The one recommended is 37 and below.
37 point something.
37.5.
No, 0.8.
That is correct.
You have 37.8. If you pass that, then you remember they used to teach us in school that when your temperature is beyond 37 point, was it 0.8? Look for me. I should not be made. Yes?
Dr. Matsanga, I apologize for that. The normal body temperature acceptable is 36.5 on the low and 37.5 on the high. That is the normal human temperature. If you are below
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, this is Celsius. If you're below 36.5, you're sick. You're suffering cold blood. And if you're above 7.5, you're also sick. Yep.
So, have you found anybody at the supermarket outside who refused to buy?
No. Everybody is allowed. You come in. They just put it. They don't even check.
Is there any Kenyan who has found another Kenyan standing outside the supermarket, stopped by the security? If you have in Marindi, can you tell me whether you have? Switch on and tell us.
I haven't found any Daktari. I haven't.
Yeah, say it.
I haven't found anyone stopped at the gate just because the temperature is above 37.5.
What is the security situation in Mali?
Well, we are managing it here. We are trying whichever way we can. Those found sick, isolated, and with masks all over. So we are trying. We are trying to abide by the rules.
Okay, thank you very much.
Karen, if I may help you, the problem of your mic is the speaker is way at the chest. So when the cables keep moving and wrap on your body, and that's the reason for the noise. You may want to stabilize the cables around you so they are not moving too much. The cables in the ears, or you remove them from the ears and use the laptop.
Yes, I just removed them. Can you hear me?
Much better.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
That's perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
He's trying so hard to come closer.
Yes.
But I told him to go in the water gun. Watakufunga. So
what I just said?
Serious note. Let's, Karen, tell us exactly. Have you ever found somebody outside the hotel stopped from going inside to have food because its temperature is below or above?
No, I haven't found anybody stopped at some gate, either of a hotel or some restaurant or some supermarket, because the temperature is above 37.5. I haven't seen that. I haven't. Personally, I haven't. But then I don't see the if at all we haven't found any, then why should we use it? Because somebody might have malaria and the temperature could read above 37.5. And it won't be COVID. So I don't understand why we should have the thermal gun around here, because number one, we haven't found anybody taken back home because the temperature is high. Number two, this person could be suffering from malaria and not COVID. So I find it, I don't know, we should maybe do with it with time.
Does it work?
They do work, doctor, but they're not effective when it comes to the fight and the spread of COVID-19.
Before we give these security guards, these thermal guns, to be able to check people's temperature, they should also be educated on the stringiness of applying those rules. If you get someone who has a temperature above 37.5, let them be isolated. Let them perhaps be made to go through a mandatory test to ascertain whether they are having COVID-19 or maybe it's just another illness that has caused the rise in temperature, their body temperature. And Miriam, I don't know the problem with our security. Most of the security people we have in the malls and in the supermarkets. I happen to drive in one of the malls, and there's this concave mirror that they always pass below the vehicles before the vehicle can be given access to the to the mall. And I happened to ask one of the guards if really he didn't know what he was looking below the vehicle, and he told me he doesn't know. He just he did it for formality. And this could be the case also with these thermal guns that are using to check the people's temperature, because perhaps we have not come across any particular individual or any particular instance where someone has been checked and the temperature has been found to be above 37.5 and they have been isolated and denied entry into the supermarket. So I think we need to do perhaps at certain levels, we need to educate these guards on how to do that and how to be quite strictly and be competent in whatever they are doing, rather than just enforcing random checks for formality.
Let me just have this to say that
I have breaking news before Professor comes in. Some serious breaking news. Behold my prophecy. Behold, I always say, may God give me more years to stay. Behold,
and to prophesy.
Prophesize. Behold, I told you that Barack Muluka is a prostitute, an opportunist. Mr. Barack Muluka has resigned as the Secretary General of Musalia Mudavadi after our expose yesterday. Who picked the money from George Soros? Behold, when did we do the George Soros? Was it Monday?
yes.
Miriam, behold. Because I was going to table the evidence. Behold. Hallelujah. Professor, go ahead. Mr. Barack resigns as the Secretary General of ANC. Differences, money from George Soros. I told you on Monday, a man who is with grandchildren should not be looking for a job, should be creating consultancy. You remember that statement, Wesonga? Yes. I said, Barack Muluka is a thief, is not a Secretary General. Aliiba pesa za George Soros na Mudavadi. They created Musalia Mudavadi Foundation. Where, you always keep quiet about these things.
You said it on Monday, Dr. Matsanga, and you
Yes,
are very
thank you. Thank you. Now, behold, that the prophecy arrived. I told you, more are going to fall. Even this one who is threatening us from Sungoi, Wengoja. There's a lining we are not. Tunapata intelligence kubwa sana.
The prophecy disappointed me. I thought you were saying Sonko has been impeached. Can you prophesy that one? Prophesy that one? Can you give us that prophecy?
No, Sonko, we are inviting him.
Luka is an issue. He's not even an elected guy. Why do you know about him?
Sonko, we are inviting him to come and do the road with us at night.
Luka is an issue.
Yes,
give us another prophecy. Sebo, give us another one.
Major General Hardy, come and we do the road at night, brother. Don't worry, come and interfere with our road. Wewe, kuja usiku. We are inviting you for free. Kuja.
To inspect. You're inviting him to come inspect the roads at night.
Go with the topic, please. Miriam.
Yes. I was saying that COVID-19, it came unexpectedly. Nobody was prepared for it. And we have done pretty very well in terms of trying to adhere the protocols which have been put in place. In fact, I've been going to the supermarket, even to the banks. In fact, some of these security officers, they are doing a very good professional job. How? They just put that thermometer gun on you, and then they show you. So the fact that we have never seen them turning away somebody, but they are doing a very professional job. They take the measurement and they show you. So I'm sure they are advised that if they find that it is beyond 37.2, they will not allow you in.
All right.
After having made that kind of
why is that? I did not hear that. Why is it that they don't let you in?
I'm saying wherever you enter supermarket, wherever you enter building, wherever you enter bank, those security officers, the security guards who are there, they use that gun, they take your measure, they measure your temperature, and in fact they show you that this is your temperature, it is that 7, if it is 7 and above, beyond, I'm sure they are advised that if they find it is over and above, they will be able to stop you from going in. So perhaps if there's someone who can come and testify that his temperature was at 7.5 or at 8, and he was allowed in, then we can be able to do a conversation.
But
I'm saying they are doing a very pretty good work, those whom have interacted. And I'm saying that, and to be very honest, let us have the way.
Professor, wait.
Professor, here's my worry, because I've also the supermarket that I frequent, being that it's accessible to my home and all that. So I frequent this supermarket very, very often, and it's quite famous. I'll not mention the name. So here's the thing: fine, they'll take the temperature down there, and then you're coming, you're doing the stairs up to enter inside the supermarket, and then just before you get in, there is where they've placed the automated sanitizer. So what they do after they check your temperature, nobody cares that you touch you also have your hand sanitized. So they take the temperatures and they will let you go in. So many times I've had to tell these people, I've gone myself to the customer care and I've told them, can you ensure that those people you put at the door, as much as they're taking the temperatures, it's a good thing, but it's not as effective as telling somebody, now go sanitize, make sure you have your mask on and go inside and shop. So you might take their temperatures, but you're not telling them to do something that could be more effective when it comes to the spread and the stop of COVID-19. So the temperature taking is good, but sanitizing, I think, will be more effective or washing hands in the stop.
then perhaps,
Yes.
let me just finish my point.
Yes.
Then perhaps, Bichiwa should help us. Then they should do the washing, they sanitize, and then they are taking the temperature, and then they go in. That is something which can,
Yes,
can
more
be done.
effective. Yes.
I agree with you, Professor. Uganda style. If you are carrying, if you are carrying a passenger on border, register where you picked the passenger, the telephone number of the passenger, where you dropped the passenger. Is Mutaye Kagwe listening?
Doctor, I will ask you to drop me 2 blocks before my house. People are so smart and they will have to do this.
Your phone number.
And I'll give a fake
Your phone
one.
number.
You don't know Kenyans?
No, Miriam, in Uganda, there is copper from Kirembe mines. And Bijiwe knows the use of copper. So everybody in Kenya does not fear copper because copper here does not work.
No, human rights do. And
yes. Wait,
William, I did not finish my point.
Yes.
No, the point you have finished. But if you want to finish, you finish.
But Dr. Matsanga, I have a point in regards to what
Professor has not finished his point.
Yes,
Professor has not finished. Hold the fire. Prof.
So I'm saying, COVID-19, the rider is this. It came unexpected, and sometimes we don't know how to behave. And these things will run as time goes, as we follow the protocols. As Miriam was raised, I perfectly agree, and I've also personally said, what is more important is not the temperature. What's more important is the washing and sanitizing, so that when you get in contact with him, when he takes you the temperature to usher you in, he's also protected. He's a protected person. But let me just have this to say the way the CS puts it. I can have COVID-19 and you can have it. And the security begins with you. The person who has got the highest responsibility about your security, it is you. So we hope that the Mutai is listening and other Kenyans are listening, that we need to put these interventions so that they work properly, because that's a lacuna we have realized, and things need to be done straight, Miriam, and thank you for that.
And before somebody else comes in, one of our viewers here, Ina Hassan, is saying, I was COVID-19 positive, and for once, did ever my temperature show elevated? The temperature did not show. The temperature was normal, and the person had COVID-19, one of our viewers here, and I think he has shared this before, and now he's okay. But not one time did the temperature go up. So that thing is a fail for me.
Yeah, there is a problem here. Can we now, from this lecture, resolve that Mr. Mutaye Kagwe finds another way of finding our temperature?
No, just the mask and sanitizing. I think it's more effective in this regard. Just put on your mask.
Because I tend to agree with Miriam and the others. I've never found anybody outside stopped from going in the hotel.
Dr. Matsanga, I have a friend who went to one of the leading chain stores in town here, and he was the temperature was taken, and it came out at 37.2. Okay. And then, so being stopped, he was just told to go in, but make sure he goes to test afterwards. You know, they did not stop him from entering the chain store. And the friend, because of his own personal worries, after going there and the temperature came out at 7.2, he went and tested and he was negative. He later realized that when he was driving to the store, it was in the afternoon, and he had all the car's windscreens up, and it never had a good working air conditioner. So perhaps that would have contributed towards his body temperature being that high. So, but the fact is now that raises the concern that perhaps even with the testing and finding that the temperature is above that 7.2, they could not stop him from going inside. And that shows the ineptitude that goes in around there. So perhaps, as Miriam says, the only effective thing that is happening in our chain stores, in our supermarkets, in our malls, is washing hands and sanitizing and putting on a mask. But taking the temperature is just any other field activity that has no essence.
Field activity. That's very serious.
But no, I will not agree with that. I will not agree with that. If they measure and they find that your temperatures are high, then you know there is something which you need to do. So it is very important to know that your temperature is good, even if you are not going to be stopped. But they will also assure you, they will show you that your temperatures are high. So, as a concern about your health and your security, you know what to do. You must go a little bit further to interrogate why your temperatures are high. The way Daniel is putting, he realized that this way his AC was not working in his car. So temperatures is a good indicator that something you need to do something about your health and your temperature.
Perfect. However, listening to all these opinions from the different experts here, it is clear therefore that temperature is one of the least ways. It's at the bottom of helping you, because I've also tested 37 one day. I was in the highway driving from Meru, and then as Miriam said, as Wetsonga said, it was cold outside, so my mirrors were up, and I was I put heater in the car, so I was feeling warm in my car. And I arrived at this checkpoint near Thika, the Nairobi metropolitan area checkpoint in Thika. And they put the gun on my head, ding, and I was 37. First, I was shocked. But then the doctor was quick to tell me it's because your car heater is on. That's why the temperature is 37. I almost thought they were going to call an ambulance and throw me in and take me somewhere. And it's those days when these things were more serious than they are today. I would like to say something real, that really when COVID-19 hit the world, nobody knew what to do exactly. So it's kind of a trial and error. There's a lot of things being done. Now it's almost universally agreed. It's almost agreed.
Another breaking news.
Yeah? Okay, break it down.
Another breaking news or prophecy? Which one?
Breaking news.
Or prophecy?
Yes.
Okay.
Governor Sonko, you said Sonko pledges full support
of who?
Of General Body in front of President Uhuru Kenyatta.
That's what I said yesterday.
He supports President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
100% to scuttle cartel.
Is he drunk or he said that when he's sober?
With Zungoi man. Is here.
Is Sonko drunk?
Or sober?
Is Sonko drunk or is sober?
We need to
know.
No,
he's sober now. Pictures are coming.
I said yesterday.
Can they test his breath?
Major Chena Brigadier Badi, you are taking the president head on.
And make sure he doesn't have a high temperature while he's saying these things, because you don't want him coming back and retracting and saying,
can they test his temperature with the breathalyzer? Let them use a breathalyzer to test his mouth temperature.
Mouth temperature.
Boss, I'm bringing you breaking news. In front of
keep breaking in. We are here.
Put it on there in front of the president himself right now. 1 minute ago, he has even wanted to kneel down. Wait.
Doctor, what we're asking is
that says kukamatiliwa chini.
Alikuwa kukamatiliwa chini.
Because the last time
I told you I have invited Sonko to come at night.
Now he will come. Now that he's working with Biden.
We want to play him at night. Come. Where? Kopa. Now he has just said, I am fully behind you.
What?
And you scuttle the Sungoi cartel.
Okay.
Pictures are there. I've sent them. Tell Miriam, tell Stephen to bring the pictures. They are serious pictures.
Because the last time that happened, he came out and said, he was tricked by some alcohol, so he was not in his right mind while he was.
No, today is during that very early in the morning. There's no alcohol there.
And I think, Miriam, that is a change of tune. I think someone has advised him maybe early this morning that perhaps that
somebody has advised him watch Matanga and Miriam this morning. Please. Change the tune.
Watch us.
Because we're inviting him for a copper ceremony.
Not copper ceremony, but we were saying.
Yeah, honestly. You come and try to touch one bread in Nairobi when we are digging at night. Mm-hmm.
Professor yesterday dared him. And doctor, I was just looking at this cartoon here on the Daily Nation.
The headline, it is there. Yes, Miriam.
On the Daily Nation, the cartoon, and you could see after Elachi, resigned yesterday, and now Sonko was trying to reach out to Badi, and I think they must have prophesied this. The cartoon, this is Sonko, this is Badi is trying to.
That's what we have said.
to reach out.
Can they zoom on that cartoon? Hold it up. Let the camera zoom. Is that the
the Daily Nation? Yes.
In front of the president, unaona Sonko unishike, because we are going for him today. Wait, at the ready.
But doctor, is it politics of self-preservation, or he really means that he wants to work with a Major General Abadi?
Whether it or not.
We have 726 days. 726 days left. Harvey, Nelson Harvey, you are on notice. Yes.
Let's go on.
Let's finish our term and we go home.
That was fast. Just
let's finish the term
and go.
Don't threaten us that you will deport me. I am ready to go, but with 726 days, Nelson Harvey, you are on notice. On 14th, you are creating a conference to decide to dissolve parliament. Mzee, wewe ulitoka DRC Congo, tutawaambia si.
Okay, can I continue with my point?
Go ahead.
This is the breaking news.
Mm-hmm. It is very good news. I prophesied Sonko has come. Next.
The guys in the studio during music time today, can you play that song Kamatilia Chini? Today during music time in the
budget.
It will be played in Africa.
We can sing it, but on Friday. Now, the only problem we have is America is like a woman, a second woman. You now over 2 women. When you give her 2 sugar, this one said you gave her more. America stopped our video from playing. Have you heard this? Because the video is from Russia. You didn't see the signal.
Yeah, we did.
Because the video is bringing us hope. America doesn't want us to have hope. What is this medicine from America that they want us to swallow? At least for me, I've produced children already. What about you younger people who have not produced like Songa and others?
I have also produced.
Yes, and Onyali you have produced. Miriam you have produced. Karen not yet. Songa not yet. What is
not sure.
What is it involved in? What is inside this medicine from America they want to give us?
We are producers.
Because it could bring a problem. America does not want you to show anybody's medicine except theirs. Is there something they are putting inside?
So for those who have not produced should be very careful. What are you saying?
Songa, don't try this medicine. Because that's a problem. You might never have a baby.
I never produce. Okay.
Let's take the Russian dose. It's safer.
Yeah.
When I was saying this, when I was commenting on that one, Miriam, you can hear
Yes.
This is pharmaceutical companies fighting. This is business. So the more you will put marriage on the other, and you know, those who will be able to break for getting this vaccine, they will make a kill. So simply, the brigades who are involved in this one, they will never want to discover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. It is all business.
So, in other words, they're terming that information from Russia fake news.
You people, you have not, Miriam, you have not followed the story.
I have.
From the factory in Wuhan, who was there?
President.
Who were the people who manufactured this thing in Wuhan? Chinese were very clever. You know, Chinese have 70 lives. Have you seen the way they jump? They jump on the wall. What? 70 lives. They carried the gas and they delivered it to this side instead of their side. Have you seen where the gas has killed more? Have you seen?
Oh, yes.
Is there any death in China now? There you are.
But also, Chinese are disciplined. They were told, stay indoors. They did. The US are tough-headed like us here in the continent. We don't listen.
Chinese know how to use copper very effectively.
They understand force and they work with that. But for the
that's
US...
That's why they import copper from Zambia and Uganda. They are the people who manufacture the highest copper bullets in the world is China. So they utilize them so well. We are not utilizing copper.
No, we don't. We don't want to take lives, Doctor.
Your COVID is utilizing us.
Yes.
He knows what it means by copper. You come with a motorbike in a high density, palatial home, you steal it, and then you go. Walaya Mungu hakuna. Unakulwa. You must go and undergo nurse. When police in Kenya are acting, you harass them. You say human rights. What can the police do to such a motorbike?
Professor will tell you due process of the law is necessary.
I believe in that.
You wait until they come near his own house. Then we shall see the due process. Watakuja hapo wataiba mtu.
Dr. Matsanga, I've just sent you a video on WhatsApp. It just happened in Mombasa on Moi Avenue. A young girl has just been shot by armed robbers who took a bag she was carrying, carrying money, M-Pesa girl. I'll send it to your WhatsApp. I suggest also that Miriam create a WhatsApp group for these consultants. So sometimes we can share information easily on our forum, even when we are coming on. Like that video, if I dropped it there, all of you could see it now. However, going back to the point I was making earlier before you broke in with the breaking news, Dr. Matsanga.
The prophecy.
The point is, everyone in the world is trying to find what to do with COVID-19. Earlier, when the disease was said it's from Wuhan, it's killing people, there was a quick response and everybody was trying to find out what can we do to, protect ourselves. They said, wash your hands, sanitize, use a mask, social distance. That social distance has been getting modified. It's physical distance, social distance. Everyone is trying to find out what to do at this time. And so the thermogun is one of the many things that people are trying to find how to use. Truly, if a thermogun is working, and it's not from China, if a thermogun is working and you have temperature above 37.5, it will show.
You are talking.
But the truth is, knowing body temperature, like our viewer who said was COVID-19 positive and the temperature remained normal, it's not the absolute way to know. Actually, even the debate of the mask has had various dimensions. Some people said COVID-19 flies in the air, you can inhale it in the air. Others said it doesn't fly in the air, it's not airborne, you can't get infected. So there have been all manner of debates about COVID-19. And so the responses have been as varied. However, the common approach that has now almost been accepted all over is the four. So, wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds at least, sanitize, wear a mask, social distance. These four have emerged as the prominent preventive ways. In fact, Damogan is not one of them. Yes.
So, in a nutshell, can we say some of the measures that have come in have implications? Some have risks. What are the risks as we come to the end of this show now? What are the risks, the implications? One, the risks. Two, the implications. Are we on the window dressing? Are we just showing good scurries outside the supermarkets, hotels? How equipped are these scurries on health, security, safety regulations? Do they know the temperature is supposed to be not below 36 and not above 37.5? Today, I don't think so. We have a problem. So that is my opinion. But I want to spread it across the bridge. There are implications. As much as we talk about Kenya, South Africa is the most hit country, with people collapsing on the streets as they go to work. Lockdown is affecting them. There is a lot of spread of disease because of the underlying factors of HIV, AIDS, and other diseases. Now, we have Tanzania, which says until Magufuli is elected as the president, they will not talk about HIV, about COVID-19. Never. They are not talking about it. If you want to wear a mask, wear. If you feel free, walk. In Malawi, the situation is becoming worse. Miriam will tell you, they had to close all, no drinks, no bar, no restaurant. Zimbabwe, my Zimbabwe still has done very, Miriam, give them a credit. Let's give them a tap. All of us on the show, let's just give Zimbabwe a clap because it has no hospitals, no medicine, but it has done very, very well, Mijiwe.
Yes,
They have done it very well.
I congratulate them, and that they have not denied they have it is a plus. It's not like our neighbor here who sings every day, God, 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 no corona, no corona. Even a pastor in Washington, D.C. died of COVID-19. How much more this our regional head who tells us God is in charge and he cannot accept there's COVID in his country. In fact, I'm happy that our foreign affairs team did not go to that barrier. They were turned around because they would have tested positive as soon as they returned. So, and then Somalia. By the way, we have a big problem with Somalia, friends. I don't know how we're going to, because the border is porous, their relatives are across both sides, and there's a lot of corona in Somalia. So I don't know how we're going to handle this, gentlemen and ladies. We need to find a way to address Somalia in issues COVID-19. Maybe what's some.
Yes, actually, and also one thing to note is that, Somalia, as much as it could be a sparsely populated border region, but majority of these people, when they come from Somalia, their main destination is always Nairobi, because here is where we have a lot of businesses. And once, let's say that we are in a situation where we've been able to contain or reduce the numbers in Nairobi, as it has happened with Mombasa and other coastal areas, then we shall be taking 2 steps forward, but once again, taking another step backwards in terms of infections. And that is what Dr. Matsanga was talking about. We need really to tighten up the porous border. We need a lot of initiative where we do have structures such as the Bakumi initiative, which Major Mijiwe was an expert in it. So we need to encourage people to be quite vigilant, and we need more security forces, not only to fight Al-Shabaab, but also to check on our borders, especially in Somalia side, because these people are always in movement from Somalia into Kenya to Nairobi and back. So that is a very big threat. I think our security forces need to look into it, and the Ministry of Health as well.
Well, as we wait for Dr. there.
Karen,
Yes.
Karen. Sorry, Miriam, I was off. Karen, what's your comment?
Well, apart from ensuring that our borders are secure in some way, having these forces around to make sure that those getting in are tested, we can have a tracking system. We do a follow-up. Yes, we have screened them, they are negative, but to prevent it from being spread to other people, we can have it tracked, we can have them tracked. So we will be able to follow up just in case of anything. And I concur with Wesonga that the alternative borders should be closed as well, because I mean, if these other means that these people use to get in the country, they should also, we should have the forces there just in case they want to get in. So that is what I have to say today. Thank you very much, Dr.
Now, Professor, there are ways that you can use the church to suppress the wisdom of Robin Hood. Because Robin Hood stole money from the poor and then said he was taking it to distribute, but he took it. He stole from the rich, saying he was going to keep it, but in the middle, alikata kidogo. So as a church, and remember who was helping Robin Hood to steal? Every time he was stealing, where was he hiding the money? Wasn't it in the church in England? So can you help us, sir?
Actually, let me just have this. I want
dangerous
I want to thank God because He has answered my prayer.
Amen.
I have been praying for the vaccine, and I'm hope more researchers are going to come with the vaccination, and we have this COVID-19 behind us. But let me just have this to say. COVID-19 is here with us. Whether with vaccine or without the vaccine, we have to follow the protocols which have been given. I can have it, and you can have it. Security begins with me. So does it begin with you. By the help of God, we are going to make it. God's people in this time in particular are traumatized, are stressed, are exploited. Nobody's giving them a listening here. So the church has got a role to play in this time of the COVID-19. And I have no doubt I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
Retired Major.
Yes, sir.
You're a security expert.
Yes, I would like to say, especially to my colleagues in the security sector, both government and private across the nations, that there has never been a time when security service was more needed to humanity than now. But there stands an enemy between us and the people that we serve. And this enemy is faceless. is ruthless and is a killer enemy. It's called COVID-19. Previously, we thought bombs and nuclear arsenal is what would destroy the world, and see what is destroying the world in hundreds of thousands. A small virus that is visible, that is invisible, that travels across nations. And so there is the question of what do we do to our people as security dispensers? We are security practitioners. We owe people safety. We owe them safety in their homes, in the planes, in the hotels, in schools, everywhere. We owe them security. But then you cannot give security that you don't have. You have to secure yourself first. So let's follow the simple procedures, whether we're in security or not, the simple Ministry of Health protocols across the nations. Wash your hands, sanitize, wear a mask, and social distance. This madness I've seen of people thronging around politicians, is risking our own lives. And I tell you, in Africa, in Kenya, and in most nations, we have very dilapidated healthcare systems. If we get sick and try to find healing and treatment in these facilities, we will most likely die before we even get attended. And so you don't want to risk your life. If you can keep yourself safe, please do. If your life must encounter COVID-19, then we pray that God keeps you safe, heals you, and you live to tell your story. My take.
Okay. Miriam, you have been recording resolutions.
Not really.
I hope you have.
Not really, but yeah, I've been listening.
I know one of them you want to finish. Are those gadgets outside the supermarket?
Doctor, they are ineffective in the fight against COVID-19.
So I want finally, before I bring the lecture to, we had a few interruptions, but we had good audience. Now, Miriam, you have picked up a few things. What can be done in a nutshell of 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Perhaps, I think as much as we are looking at ways, and I think one of our viewers here, let me just start with that comment that I think would, Ina Hassan, you said most of the measures are just to comply with the regulations. The effectiveness is questionable. That point there is very, very important. You'll find that even the security agents that stand there or that are tasked to ensure that anybody walking into those buildings or those establishments are safe and they are there to these measures, they just do it to comply. You see, they really don't mean it. They're either so tired or overworked. I don't understand. They'll take your temperature. They'll not even check it. They'll give you to check, and then the next person. So it doesn't really go to serve the purpose of why it's even necessary for the temperatures to be taken there. And also the temperature taking thing, I think as much as it is good, but it's not one of the most effective ways. It's not effective. Can we now adopt other, best practices? Still, social distancing, wearing a mask, washing hands, or sanitizing are still the most effective ways of ensuring that you are protected from COVID-19. Also, you're protecting the other person from COVID-19. And from what I've been hearing the rest of the panelists say, a lot of concern has been raised in terms of, the porous borders, as much as President Uhuru Kenyatta just I think a few weeks ago, when he came out and said, we have closed the borders between us and Tanzania for the human traffic, and us and Somalia. With Uganda, we know President Museveni is doing the right thing towards the other side. So anyway, Kenyans, you can't really cross over that other side because you will be taken care of. So you better just follow and adhere to those measures that have been put in place. And so that is not a concern for us. But Tanzania and Somalia is a huge concern. And as much as we've seen that the difference between Somalia and Tanzania is Somalia is trying, but it is undercapacitated. It's not able to carry out as much tests as possible, and also it's not able to control its own borders to the incoming and outcoming traffic. So that also is a challenge. And so that's why President Uhuru Kenyatta said it is important to control the traffic. And the border, as per now, the last we checked, was closed. So there shouldn't be any human movement. But unfortunately, that is happening. So now we need the government now to reinforce some of those measures to ensure that Kenyans are safe, and even Somalians keep safe the other side, to ensure that we are able to control the spread of COVID-19. But coming internally, a lot of insecurity-related issues have risen since the pandemic. We started recording, and this has not only been in Kenya but also abroad. The things that have come up, gender-based violence is on the increase. We've seen the muggings going up. We've seen drugs among the youth. They have not been in school since March. They have so much time, and they realize you can only watch TV so much, and then at some point it's boring. So now what else? So they have so much time in their hands. The drug issue is coming up. You see the early teenage pregnancies is on the rise right now. So these are things that have been brought up, and challenges that now also are posing another security issue that internally the government should find ways to address and to deal with these issues, so that you're able to deal with this security or lack thereof that has come with the complications of dealing with this pandemic coronavirus.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much, panel. Thank you very much, all of you from Malindi, from CBD, from the university, from Runda, the highest place of life of all lives in Nairobi. Thank you very much, Miriam, from the general headquarters, Punchline Africa TV. We want to thank our viewers, saying, especially Ina Hassan. Ina Hassan says, pregnancies are also a security risk, which Malindi was giving us very serious artifacts. Teenage pregnancies. Our children are all having a womb.
Doctor, all girls have wombs, but they're different.
Oh, what is it called? Miriam, I always bring in some sense of Zumabwana. Womb, shimo ya telewa, shimo ya tewa. I got it.
Shimo la tewa.
Shimo ya la tewa.
Doctor, tewa is a form of fish. It's a type of fish. It's like tilapia.
Okay, shimo la tewa.
Yeah, so that spot, tewa used to go there a lot. They used to catch tewa there. So they used to say, let's go to shimo la tewa, like saying, let's go to shimo la tilapia. So tewa is a form of, is a type of.
When you pass Shanzu, that bridge there.
The Shanzu locals, yeah. You go to Shimo.
Yes.
You go to where, Doctor?
Everything inside here. Yeah, there's a river there.
No,
so tewa is a type of fish. Just like there's also a Swahili saying that says, asira za mkisi. Mkisi is a type of fish. Karen Joseph can take you down on that road there, Kiswahili. Mkisi is also a type of fish.
Yes. Doctor, which jail as you complete?
Latewa.
Okay, good.
Shimo Latewa, you got it.
I will not get it. I will not get it wrong.
So the girls don't have
the words of pregnancy and the wombs.
So the girls don't have wombs; they're pregnant.
Thank you very much, viewers. There is one viewer, Hassan Ina, very educated. We want to thank you so much. There is Mr. Alacho from Australia. And our viewer from Mozambique.
Sidonio,
we thank you so much. You watch almost everything and you give us very good information. back down here where on the panel we are all laughing. Those security gun camera, Mr. Mutai Kagwe, check on those things. They don't work.
They're not cameras, Doc. They're thermoguns.
What are they called? Shimatelewa?
Thermoguns.
They are cameras. They are video camera. In fact, what I've gone, now I go with my own video camera. I have it special.
Oh
it
God.
looks for 1,000, it can hit 100 meters.
Doctor, Facebook might
be under
when you keep saying that, Facebook might block you for misinformation. It's thermogun.
It's called farmer what?
Thermogun. The ones for taking.
But they don't work.
They work,
Because
but they're not effective.
You don't find a queue
They're not
of people
effective.
standing who have been refused to go in.
Yeah.
You value the project by results.
Yeah, they're not effective.
Kibaki introduced the payment for civil servants as performance.
That has
What
since
was it
changed.
called, Mr. Mbijiwe? Performance. Performance what?
Which one?
There was where you pay the people as performance contract.
Performance bond.
Eh?
There's performance contract, there's performance bond.
No, performance contract.
Okay.
How you have worked is how you will be paid.
Yes.
So these Zimuganis don't work.
What?
They don't.
Okay.
For example, I leave my house. All of you wait first. Wait just a minute. There's something I want to show you, which can help all of you. I leave my house with very good temperature. As soon as I reach a certain hotel, my temperature is measured. Then I reach the inside of the hotel. The same hotel, the temperature goes down. Then I said, is my body freezing? What is the problem now? They say, no, you are very well, Mr. David. At the gate, it tells you something. As you proceed up to the entrance main door, something else works out. So, are these things really working? I accept with Miriam's proposal that sanitize. I think the best method is to wash hands. These temperature things are like, well, temperature things are not working. Yeah, a man says he had COVID, but he didn't see any temperature. Koinange is struggling to go back to work. He wants to go back and spread more.
He has healed.
Yeah, no, healed what? Miriam, you don't know. You can be healed now, and as soon as 2 days out there, you get it.
But he's not going to spread. He might get it.
Where? Now they have brought even another problem that if you take that medicine from after you have healed from the ventilator, your heart and the brain is damaged.
Because of the medication being used.
So, Nana taenda huko. I have my heart pumping nicely. That's how unataka watu waende huko. Watu are not coming because of those type of things. Double standards. Jamani, they didn't bring this medicine. Mzee President Uhuru Kenyatta. Sukuma ndege huko walete sample. Mimi nitachukua sample moja. I'm ready to be tested with one sample. Miaka imeenda. Test with us. Because the president said 58 onwards, hakuna kutembea nje.
Test with dog, President Kenyatta, please.
It is equality, equity of distribution of human revenue of allocation. The president has equitably distributed us and saved us from this monster. Stay in your house if possible. Thank you very much. He cares for us. The last thing I want to say is thank you very much, all of you. In Australia, if they find you without a mask, you go straight to jail. There's no magistrate. The magistrate will come to sentence you from jail. Thank you very much. Wesonga, thank you very much. Mijiwe, thank you very much. Professor, thank you very much. Karen, thank you very much. Beloved Miriam, in yellow colors of your national resistance movement.
Mustard.
Eh?
Mustard. Say mustard.
Mustard color, not yellow, yeah.
Good.
Because if there was yellow, it could cause a problem in 70s, Uganda. Copper.
Sebo.
He can give you copper. The man can take 40 hiccups. Is it hiccup? What are they called?
Hiccups.
Yeah?
Press ups.
Hiccups.
Press
Push.
up.
Press up. Oh. Hey. I tried it 2, then 3, 4, I fell on the floor. I saw you also trying, Major.
I do them. I do 25 straight before
I can't go beyond 5.
25.
Unless you will be called, I am just in Aga Khan. You know, which Miriam does not want me to be there, please. She has always prayed that I stay as I am. However bad I am, it is very, very bad for a person to hang on every opportunity. Muluka should be creating a school for children to learn peer, but he hangs on to eat George Soros' money. Our program is very effective, Amen. Hallelujah, thank all of you. On Monday, you missed this one on Monday. It was the best lecture where we exposed the NGOs. One of the NGOs has now resigned. He doesn't want to be implicated in the coming scandal next week of this foundation money. You know who collected the foundation money? Sambijiwa, you know it.
I do.
Why don't you tell us a bit?
They have been funding. They have been funding the alternative of BBI. So money has been finding its way to the Uganda Alliance.
Thank you very much. I told you that we shall catch them. Time has come to catch. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless all of you. Remain always. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Miriam can't.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.